50 Cent has now claimed he possesses additional footage that allegedly links Diddy to the murder of Tupac Shakur, and the situation appears to be escalating fast. Diddy's legal team has reportedly filed a cease and desist letter with Netflix in an effort to have 50's accusaries taken down. At the same time, 50 is alleging that Diddy has begun sending him threats, adding another volatile layer to an already intense dispute.
So this is what Diddy doing, y'all. Alright, the diddler has sent 50 Cent some damn flowers while he locked up, bro. Alright, we all know Diddy is mad about this whole docu-series that 50 put out on Netflix and is #1 going crazy, so you know he mad. Now, according to 50, alright, these are some warning flowers. Y'all know how Diddy used to get down. You know, he used to send people shit in the mail. He'll send a nigga to blow up a car. Y'all know how he get down. So if he mad, clearly he's mad about this documentary. Bro sent 50 some flowers at his hotel while he was in Miami, bro. Now, I ain't gonna show the address on these flowers, but 50 posted the whole address. Now, in the caption, 50 said, "What kind of gay shit is this? Diddy send me flowers at Club 11, LOL. LOL, why all the foreplay? Get busy, you know I'm stupid." Then he commented again and said, "A warning, I'm 90s grimy. You don't warn me, LOL." So y'all know why Diddy sent this. He ain't send it because he happy or proud of 50 for dropping this goddamn docuseries on his demon ass, bro.
According to 50 Cent, Diddy sees him as the one person capable of seriously damaging his image, and believes Diddy is willing to do whatever it takes to silence him. Netflix released 50 Cent's documentary, Sean Combs, The Reckoning, on December 9th after nearly 2 years of investigation. Across the 4-part series, 50 Cent presents allegations and claims about Diddy in unprecedented detail. The documentary lays out incidents piece by piece, supported by eyewitness accounts, former insiders, industry veterans, and previously unseen footage. For years, much of this existed only as rumor, but the series attempts to connect those dots in a way Diddy may not have anticipated. In response, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs reportedly moved quickly to stop the release of the Netflix docuseries. The project is said to include never-before-seen footage of Combs discussing legal strategy with his attorneys in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last year, as well as scenes of him greeting fans in Harlem. Shortly after the release, additional statements surfaced describing tense interactions connected to the documentary, adding yet another layer to an already escalating situation.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got it. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath. Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with, like that's what I have to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like 150 hugs.
Now, Combs' lawyers are demanding that Netflix pull the series, threatening legal action, and claiming the platform used stolen footage that was never authorized for release, as part of what they describe as a shameful hit piece. The series is executive produced by Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and directed by Alex Stapleton. Stapleton has responded by saying, "We obtained the footage legally and have the necessary rights." That statement was made before the cease and desist letter was sent yesterday. Stapleton and Jackson also sat down with Robin Roberts to discuss the series.
How do you respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform?
It's not personal.
The show is not completely the perspectives of people that did not like Sean. Not everyone needed to have an allegation to be a part of this.
No one knows exactly how 50 Cent obtained this footage, but one thing is clear, Diddy did not see any of it coming. The documentary includes deeply private moments that appear to show him working closely with his legal team, as well as interviews with individuals who claim they were pressured or allegedly offered money to remain silent. Most damaging of all, this is material that Diddy reportedly tried hard to keep out of the public eye, footage his team never expected to resurface.
So let's start at the top with the hotel video, which I did a double take because I thought, wait a minute, isn't this Fiddy's documentary? What is he doing with video from inside Diddy's hotel room, which clearly looks to be sanctioned by Diddy? It almost looks like Diddy was shooting a documentary. He thought this whole thing might go away and just wanted to have some really good content for afterwards. How the hell did this video get in the hands of 50 Cent, the arch nemesis of Diddy?
Well, I think it was delivered legally, supposedly what they're saying. I think what happened was that when he did this video in the hotel, he was probably thinking that he was going to probably be acquitted and he was going to probably get out and he could probably run back his last days that before he got arrested so he can use that for some footage later on. But it sort of backfired on him because now I don't think he wanted it to get out. And plus, he's in an appeal process right now where he's trying to get out from under this. He's still appealing his case, and this sort of brings back old memories, you know?
Let me ask you this, Derek. Somebody real close to Diddy was holding that camera because Diddy didn't have people in his inner circle, in his hotel room, saying things like this unless they were close to him. And yet, whoever owns that copyright, whoever had their hands on that video, did him dirty, you know, and gave it to his enemy. Why and how do you think that happened?
Well, I think the person that probably did the video footage wanted to get some recognition for having that type of footage. And I think, I don't know if they signed a no-compete clause or an NDA, but that person turned that over apparently, and it went to 50 for the documentary, which he used.
Perhaps the most shocking development is that 50 Cent says he's not finished yet. In an interview released just hours ago, he claimed to have additional footage that he says contradicts Diddy's public statements. According to 50, a second installment, possibly released on YouTube, would allegedly explore further accusations, including claims involving inappropriate conduct with minors. Since these allegations resurfaced, many figures within the music industry have publicly distanced themselves from Diddy. Long-standing rumors and conspiracy theories have also re-emerged, including claims linking Diddy to events surrounding the deaths of Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G. These theories, often discussed for decades, suggest that Diddy played a behind-the-scenes role in the conflicts that defined the East Coast-West Coast feud, from the 1994 Quad Studios shooting to the tensions that followed. It's important to note that these claims have never been proven in court and remain allegations and speculation. However, the documentary and recent statements have reignited debate about whether Tupac and Biggie themselves suspected deeper betrayals within their own circles.
Do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
Only they can answer that question. I have my own opinion, but I wouldn't slander their name like they did mine. I wouldn't say things that I knew, you know what I mean? I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen, or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. Because you seen what I said in the Vibe article. I basically bowed out and was going to go ahead about my life. The next issue, that wasn't even the next issue, because them cowards waited about 4 issues before they got their story together. 4 issues later, half of New Yorkers commenting on me getting shot. And before, they was all like, we didn't see nothing. In the first issue, read it, Vibe viewers. Nobody seen shit. The 4th issue, when they came back with a reply, everybody knew what I did. They knew what I said. I was acting. Who gets shot 5 times in acts? Oh, I didn't get shot 5 times in their vision. I only got shot once because they found the bullet. The police found it, but now they the cops. Now they doing detective work. They found the bullet. Oh, you found the bullet, huh? So what is this other shit in me then? What was the doctors talking about? What? Can you explain these other holes in me? How'd I get gunpowder all over me? That insulted my intelligence. So yes, I did say Thug Life was there. Yes, I bowed out, all of that. But when they said that, they breathed new life in me.
The documentary argues that Puffy never possessed the same level of raw talent as either Biggie or Tupac, and suggests that jealousy may have played a role in his actions at the time. Biggie was Bad Boy's biggest star, and when Diddy saw Biggie and Tupac developing a friendly relationship, the film suggests he viewed it as a threat he couldn't afford to ignore. According to the documentary's narrative, once Diddy realized he couldn't keep the two artists divided through ordinary industry politics, tensions began to escalate instead. The film points to this period as a turning point, leading up to the 1994 shooting. On November 30, 1994, Tupac Shakur was robbed and shot multiple times in the lobby of Quad Recording Studios in Manhattan, as he arrived for a late-night recording session. While the official police report classified the incident as a robbery, the documentary highlights a detail that has fueled speculation for decades. None of Tupac's jewelry was taken.
I think my favorite thing about 50 Cent's Netflix Diddy documentary is how he built a timeline off of this information. And one of my favorite parts of this documentary is them really getting into the timeline of events when it comes to Tupac and Biggie. And it really gives us a lot of perspective from people that were close to the situation, and a lot of people allege in this documentary that they believe that Diddy was very jealous of Tupac. And they pretty much go through everything from the quad incident and Tupac believing that Puffy was behind it, like he said in the Vibe interview. And they lay out this whole timeline of the downfall happening perfectly, in my opinion. We are even hearing from Greg Kading, the detective that worked on Tupac and Biggie's case in this documentary. He is the investigator that did that proffer agreement with Keefe D way back in 2008, where Keefe D alleged that Diddy tried to offer him $1 million to take out Tupac and Suge Knight. And Tupac's trial with Keefe D is coming up very soon in early 2026, and we know that Diddy's name has been dropped at least 200 times during these proceedings already. So this is one case that I am definitely waiting for and I am going to cover. In Keefe D's 2008 proffer agreement, he alleged that Diddy's friend Zip Martin is the one that gave him the weapon that was used to take out Tupac. And Keefe D told the investigator Greg Kading that Zip Martin had a special compartment to keep this weapon in his car that he drove to Las Vegas. And in this documentary, we have Greg Kading confirming that Zip Martin did drive the same type of vehicle that Keefe D alleged to Las Vegas this night. And then during this documentary, we heard from the former president of Bad Boy, Kirk Burroughs, who alleged during this time, Diddy had him hiring a whole bunch of people and getting cars to drive to Las Vegas. And he is now very curious into why Diddy wanted to do this. And he said in his opinion, he now believes that Diddy was behind taking out Tupac.
Gene Deal, who was part of Diddy's security team during that period, has said he witnessed much of what was happening behind the scenes. According to Deal, tensions, jealousy, and power struggles were real, and he has alleged that Diddy played a significant behind-the-scenes role in escalating conflicts within the industry. Deal has gone as far as to claim that these dynamics ultimately contributed to the circumstances surrounding the deaths of both Biggie Smalls and Tupac Shakur, claims that remain allegations and have never been proven in court.
I think that hate stemmed from wanting to be him, idolize a motherfucker, he idolized Tupac because you got to realize when a woman looked at Tupac, they probably wanted him. Puff wasn't getting that type of fever from girls. You understand what I'm saying? Puff had to use his money. Puff had to use his position in order to get women. Now, I seen him with some bad joints. And I used to look at them like this, like, not on no hating shit, but like, you wouldn't be here if he wasn't puffed. If this nigga had no money, you would not be coming out of his room like that. And that's for real, for real. You understand? I'll be like, yo, when I had to, because most of the time, I would walk some of them to the door, walk them to get their cabs or whatever like that. Or, take them down the street and get their cabs and everything like that. And I'd be like, I'd be laughing. I just kept a smile on my face when it came to that shit. Because I know for a fact, because he said it himself. He said, I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know how to talk to girls. You understand? I said, you don't have to know how to talk to nobody. You're a millionaire. You got it. So he was jealous of Pac because Pac ain't had to do that. Pac had that aura, you know what I'm saying? And he probably knew how to communicate with women. And most women who he talked to that said stuff, said about him.
After Tupac's death, Diddy's career continued to rise, and some critics argue that he benefited professionally from the moment. Over time, The documentary suggests Diddy may have begun to see Biggie not just as his biggest artist, but eventually as potential competition. According to multiple insiders quoted in the film, the dynamic between Diddy and Biggie had already started to change. Biggie was growing into his own power, gaining influence, independence, and a stronger voice in the industry. The documentary argues that this shift may have made Diddy uneasy, as control began to slip from his hands.
Been insinuations in the past. They played video clips of, Sean Combs being asked in prior interviews in the 90s and 2000s, do you know, who killed these men? Did you have any involvement? He's always denied it. To be clear, these are just allegations. But yeah, that was really, really shocking. And one of the sort of a little bit more of the backstory behind his alleged involvement with Tupac was that a lot of the interviewees in the documentary were saying that Biggie, who was signed with Bad Boy and who was really close with Diddy at the time, was starting to form a friendship with Tupac, and they were getting really close. And a lot of the interviewees were saying, in their view, Diddy didn't really appreciate that. So I think a lot of the themes that you see again is coming up as him sort of wanting and needing to be the number one person in people's lives, whether it was personal, business. And it's really interesting because you see a lot of the themes that, again, the prosecution was trying to push forward that we saw in his personal life with Cassandra Ventura, always needing to be number one, not necessarily regarding the damages he's doing to other people in the prosecution's eyes, right? Playing out in the business sense. So the backstory is that he didn't appreciate the friendship that was forming between Biggie and Tupac, and therefore, that's where his alleged involvement came in. And then when, in terms of the non-payment, I think that was also a really shocking moment as well, because that's something we saw happening over and over in the documentary. Multiple people who were saying, I was cheated out of my share in the company. I wasn't paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. And allegedly, that's sort of how he treated the artists that were on his label. So again, it's the theme of always wanting to be number one and, not necessarily giving people their due, business sense or personal sense.
After Tupac's death, the East Coast-West Coast feud reached its peak. Biggie was reportedly receiving death threats and began to feel that people were actively coming after him.
One of your big stars right now. Yeah. How much are you exaggerating with you now as a rapper when people coming to get you?
I ain't exaggerating at all, man. That's real, son. That's real, yo. I ain't exaggerating at all, man. The more money you make, the more problems you get. And jealousy and envy is just something that comes with the territory, man. A lot of people, it's just negative energy, like my man Puff say. It just surrounds you. It makes you depressed, So I got to rap about it. And that's one of the bad things about the game is when you get large, even your friends will turn against you, man. So I made a song about it.
But how real is your threat of people constantly coming and want to shoot you?
Man, that's real. I think about that every day. Every day it's real. That's how real it is. I think somebody's trying to waking up paranoid. I'd be really scared. I'll just be paro. That's just the way I am. You seeing me? Scared to death.
What Biggie may never have expected was who he believed the danger was coming from. According to claims repeated in the documentary and by former Bad Boy insiders, after Tupac's death, Diddy allegedly insisted that Biggie travel to Los Angeles, even though Biggie was originally scheduled to go to London, and reportedly expressed serious concerns about his safety in LA. These same sources claim Biggie felt something bad would happen if he went, but ultimately went anyway. It's also alleged that he was pressured to attend a party while in Los Angeles, where events later turned tragic. After Biggie's death, Diddy went on to become the public face of hip-hop, and one of the most powerful music executives in America. Kirk Burroughs, a co-founder of Bad Boy Records, has publicly confirmed that this sequence of events, and the power shift that followed, has long raised troubling questions, though none of these claims have been proven in court.
I seen an interview that Puffy did with Fat Joe where he was talking about Biggie in his last moments in LA, and he told Fat Joe that he didn't want to go to LA, he actually wanted to go to London, but Biggie, he was the one that wanted to go to LA, and he was the one that was pushing to go to LA.
That's not true. My name is Kirk Burroughs. I ran Bad Boy Entertainment. I helped co-found it. I created the company with him. I raised from general manager to president. And at that time, I put all of those business plans together. And Biggie didn't want to go to LA, ended up going. What got him out there was a week ahead of time to ease him into the whole award show. He may not have wanted to go to London, but was talked into it. First time ever a rapper of your stature getting this treatment. That would be something he would be interested in doing, but he was easily talked out of it by Sean so that they can make an appearance at an event in LA that Saturday night. A part of the posturing of not only did we come to the award show, not only am I recording my album out here, and Big is gonna help me with some of the writing and maybe do something out here where me and him did this song in LA. I'm out on the town. And it was just too much.
The documentary claims to present evidence that has never been made public before. According to individuals described as investigators familiar with the case, this material could potentially prompt renewed scrutiny into Diddy's alleged role, if authorities are able to secure credible witness cooperation. The biggest challenge, however, would be finding witnesses willing to come forward. One name that frequently comes up in discussions surrounding the case is Keith D., also known as Dwayne Keith D. Davis. Keith D. is a former Southside Compton Crips member who has been charged in connection with the 1996 killing of Tupac Shakur. Over the years, Keith D. has publicly made claims suggesting that Diddy was involved in arranging the attack, allegations that have circulated for decades, but have never been proven in court.
Let me ask you this. I get it. When you have a case that's 5 years old, it's hard to get overwhelming evidence that meets the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. When you have cases this old, no matter what Fiddy has found out and put in this documentary, do you see it at all ever possible that Diddy could be involved in a murder trial when it comes to Biggie and Tupac?
It could be possible, yes. However, like I said, they need a lot of corroboration to make that stick, because it's really alleged right now as to his involvement. It's not anything that's substantial or concrete that he was involved. It's personally from people talking about it and saying this is what happened. You need some more information to come forward to prove that.
With increased scrutiny surrounding his legal situation, Diddy reportedly views any renewed attention as potentially damaging. According to reports, he has been working behind the scenes to pressure Netflix into removing the documentary. His legal team has sent multiple cease and desist letters, arguing that the series is defamatory and could interfere with ongoing legal matters. Critics, however, interpret these moves differently, suggesting they reflect concern over how the documentary could shape public opinion and intensify scrutiny. Whether driven by legal strategy or fear of reputational damage, the response has made it clear that the series has struck a nerve.
It's not surprising that Sean Combs and his team are not happy about this, okay? Which now we go back to the C&D letter, the cease and desist letter that Combs' lawyers sent to Netflix's chief legal officer. That's what I want to focus on now. Okay, so according to attorney Michael Tremonti, they had already sent a cease and desist letter to the streaming service in July of 2024. This is before Combs was even indicted. But now they send this new letter on December 1st, the day before the documentary was set to be released, and essentially calling it a hit piece. Quote, "First, Netflix's promotion of the program as a documentary is fundamentally misleading. In truth, the program is a hit piece. It was conceived and produced by Curtis James Jackson, aka 50 Cent, whose irrational fixation on destroying Mr. Combs' reputation is a matter of public record. The evidence of Mr. Jackson's vicious animus against Mr. Combs is overwhelming. He has been trolling Mr. Combs on the internet and social media for years and has made a career of attempting to defame, belittle, and provoke Mr. Combs and turn the public against him. We provided ample evidence of Mr. Jackson's avowed hatred of Mr. Combs in our prior cease and desist letter dated July 3rd, 2024, and since that time, Mr. Jackson's determination to take down Mr. Combs has increased dramatically. Simply put, there is no one less able to view any aspect of Mr. Combs' life and legacy through a fair and objective lens. Given Mr. Jackson's central role in the project and his declared objective of disgracing Mr. Combs, Netflix cannot honestly market the program as a documentary, as that term falsely suggests it is based on facts. Instead, the program is based on fabrication allegations born from Mr. Jackson's personal vendetta against Mr. Combs. For this reason alone, Netflix must withdraw the program. Now, to be clear, recently, 50 Cent, who's been doing a media tour for this, has said, I don't have any hatred against Sean Combs. I've actually worked with and employed his sons. And so he tried to beat back against that narrative. Now, according to Tremonti, Netflix had actually been in talks with Combs to make a show about him before the sudden cratering of his career. Quote, in or about 2023, CEO Ted Sarandos proposed that Netflix produce a documentary about Mr. Combs. However, Mr. Combs rejected the proposal when Mr. Sarandos insisted he give up creative control. Thus, the choice of Mr. Jackson to produce the program was Netflix's vindictive response to that rejection, an attempt by Netflix and Mr. Sarandos to ensure a one-sided character assassination rather than a balanced and accurate portrayal.
Here's the key point. According to 50 Cent's side of the story, he maintains that all of the footage was obtained legally. He claims Diddy had been recording material for a documentary he planned to release after resolving his legal issues. According to allegations circulating around the project, the problem began when Diddy allegedly failed to pay his videographer or editor. At that point, 50 Cent is said to have stepped in and legally purchased the footage, acquiring the rights to use it. While this account has not been independently verified, it forms the basis of 50's claim that the material was lawfully obtained.
Getting it as your boss. Yo, man, how 50 get, blah, blah, blah. Yo, Puff, take this out on that. Let me explain something to y'all. All right? Whether it's NBAs, whether it's whatever. When these young boys come in, first of all, he only deal with young videographers because he want to rob them, and he know that they want the opportunity to follow Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. They want that opportunity. So they get him at a low price anyway. But when you stay out so many hours a day, Puff wants a videographer with him 24 hours a day on call. Whether we on a yacht, whether we on a ship, wherever we at, he wants to videotape that, right? So now, they come to agreement. They come to whatever the pay is going to be. But then it be so many hours on that invoice that he don't want to pay. He gets in touch with the office. He gets in touch with the chief of staff. Yo, what is this I'm paying? What is this I'm paying? You know what you paying. You was outside all of these hours. It's 160 something hours in a week. You was outside 140. That's the invoice he put in. So now, being if you got a contract and he don't stand to that contract, guess what happens? He could do whatever he want to do with that footage. So now that footage goes to the highest bidder. And 50 had to be the highest bidder to get the, this is business. You know what I'm saying? Everybody ain't in love with you. Everybody ain't dedicated. Everybody ain't loyal to the point of stupidity.
According to industry insiders, the situation may be growing even more complicated for Diddy. Sources claim his legal team was caught off guard after discovering that audio recording equipment had allegedly been installed in spaces where sensitive discussions took place, conversations involving legal strategy, witness issues, and crisis planning. Once those recordings reportedly came to light, insiders say the attorney-client relationship deteriorated rapidly. Legal experts note that no lawyer would risk their career or license representing a client who is accused of secretly recording privileged conversations, as doing so could undermine attorney-client confidentiality and create serious ethical and legal consequences.
Diddy really screwed over Mark Agnifilo. I gotta say, this is awful that Diddy owes his life to Mark Agnifilo, literally his life, because he could have gotten life in prison were it not for Mark Agnifilo, his defense lawyer, who had a brilliant strategy, and Diddy screwed him over when he hired this videographer to chronicle his life without telling Mark Agnifilo that when Diddy and Mark were on the phone, this videographer was recording what Mark clearly expected to be an attorney-client privileged relationship. Now, it is true that the client holds that privilege, the lawyer doesn't, but Mark's clear expectation was that this was a private conversation. These were private conversations, and that he and Diddy could talk openly, and Mark could talk to Diddy not just as a client, but as a person, and tried to guide him in a time leading up to his arrest. And unbeknownst to Mark Agnifilo, Diddy has got this guy recording the conversation as he's sitting there saying, "You are screwing this up. You are messing up this case. We're losing." And knowing that that's on tape. And it's almost like he's performing for the camera and not telling Mark what's going on. And the really enraging part about it is that Mark Agnifilo won this case for Diddy with legal strategy. It wasn't just an accident that this jury that had heard all of this in the news before the trial voted not guilty on all the serious charges. It was Mark Agnifilo that did that. Yet Diddy secretly records this guy and embarrasses him. And yeah, you could say, well, Diddy never expected that it would end up being broadcast somewhere else. Well, okay, but Diddy was planning on using it, or he wouldn't have had it recorded in the first place. So it's just really, really unfair. And I know that in a way this sounds crazy, that I'm getting so upset about Diddy, and yet there's video of Diddy b***ing Cassie. Well, that's horrendous, but that doesn't mean you can't look at something else as well.
50 Cent's documentary isn't just recounting a story, it's forcing the industry, fans, and the wider public to confront a version of Diddy they say they've never seen before. As legal teams move quickly and attempts are made to contain the fallout, the conversation continues to grow rather than fade. For decades, many people stayed silent, whether out of fear, loyalty, or self-preservation. Now, with renewed attention and unanswered questions, that silence is breaking. The question becomes unavoidable. How long can Diddy maintain control when every past decision, every alleged secret, and every move is being examined under an unforgiving spotlight?